So the malacha is kindling, making a fire. The Mishkan was used to cook the different herbs for coloring. It was also used to make when coals were made. It was used to heat up the metal in order to put it in the mold to melt them. So the malacha, this is one of the malachas that the Torah explicitly lists. Of the 39 categories, there are a number that the Torah lists. One of them is make a fire, not kindle a fire in all your dwelling places on the Shabbos day. Among the others that the Torah explicitly says is you should rest from plowing and reaping. Torah also says that all cooking and baking that you want for Shabbos should be done on Friday. So these are the malachas that the Torah explicitly says. Also carrying from one domain to the other, the Torah and Shabbos day, to cease from bringing any donations to the Mishkan because it is the Shabbos day. We were also told not to collect any of them, to go out to collect man on the Shabbos day, which they were to take out from their domain. They can't carry the vessels in order to put the man inside. So carrying is also explicitly in the Torah. Now there are some in our included in making a fire would also be included electricity. That goes into the same category. There are those who would say, well, electricity is not difficult to do. Making a fire was hard. Make a fire in the desert, but in fact, they had something that was called a tinderbox, which is equivalent to a lighter. So really, making a fire was not something that was a difficult, hard, laborious task, but rather creating something new, creating a fire. That itself is the malacha. So the malacha is igniting a fire that would start off with match, a lighter, the friction, which would include also the flintstone, also using a magnifying glass to direct the heat of the sun to start a fire. That would also be included. So any activity that is making a fire, that would also include our gas burner and also would include our electric burners. So all of these would be included in this malacha. So not only is it starting a fire that's forbidden, but also to heighten the fire to make it larger by adding more fuel, adding more wood, or adding more gas by making the fire larger. So all of these are included in this malacha. This would also include the intensifying the fire that exists, which would be what are some of the ways intensifying? How can we intensify a fire? No? Turning up the heat, also blowing at it, opening a window where you know at a fireplace, you know, opening up the window, it's going to be a direct wind, intensifying the fire. That would also be included. So all of this is included in our malacha.
Leaving you open the window if you want to do other reasons.
Yes, again, if it's not something that's going to be directly putting out the fire. In other words, if you have a candle on the windowsill, you open up the window, the window's going to blow. You can't open your window when you're opening a candle on the windowsill. If it's in the room, normally we would assume that a regular wind coming in would not extinguish the candle. included in this would also be heating up a metal until it becomes red hot. That also is included in this malaka, making a fire. So whether it is using a fuel or making the metal itself that hot, that it glows, becomes hot, intensified, this would also be included in this malaka. So if someone wants to sterilize a needle, take out a splinter, we're allowed to take out a splinter on Shabbos? Yes, no? You could take out a splinter as long as it's not going to cause any bleeding, so that could be done. How about heating up the needle to sterilize it? That cannot be done. Now, could you sterilize the needle? Just with some alcohol. If not, to heat it up until it dark, until it glows. Now, causing the metal to glow, to heat up our incandescent bulbs. Do we still use them? What kind of bulbs do we use? Do we still have the bulbs that have the filament inside? Still use?
Sometimes.
So using that on Shabbos, opening it would be a Torah prohibition because you have the filament that's in the bulb, the metal wire. It causes the light because it starts to glow. It becomes that hot that it glows, and that's why it's giving off the light. Doing that on Shabbos is a Torah prohibition. Also, with the fluorescent lights, there is a part of the mechanism that also heats up very highly, even though the actual illumination comes from the gases that are heated up, but also included that would also be the metal that also heats up. So it's opening up the light in Shabbos would also be included in this law. What happens if someone gets a Shabbos and they ring the bell, an electric bell? What do? Your finger is on it, it's ringing, and then you realize it's Shabbos. What does one do? What do? You stay until after Shabbos? The question is about we said electricity is also included in this halacha. So you're not allowed to ring an electric bell on Shabbos. If you do, whenever you forgot a Shabbos, you press the button on you press the button, then it's ringing, and then what do? Well, you can take away your finger. If you do, then you're preventing it from continuing. And that would be permissible. The electricity would also include in this malacha, and therefore all different items that use electricity, that would be a part of this malacha. So we have the refrigerator opening the door, that there's a light side, so we have to, that is a problem because you're not allowed to open up the light, knowing that there is a light there, opening up the door, you know that you are switching on the light. So that would not be done. What would one do? They have such a refrigerator, or the Shabbos.
Turn off the light.
Turn off the light. If it's difficult to turn out the bulb, you can put a tape on there. There's a switch. There's a switch that when the door is closed, the switch is off. When the door is open, the switch goes on.
The refrigerator is very complicated.
So that's it. Okay. Now we also have the refrigerators. There's another thing that when you open the door, there are some refrigerators that a fan goes on, especially with the freezer. So you would have to get a Shabbos-friendly refrigerator. When buying one, you would have to find out what features it has, that it should not be a Shabbos difficulty. Actually, here in the tri-state area, they actually make refrigerators with a Shabbos mode. So this is something that, since there is there is a demand by the customers that they're asking for this, so therefore whether it is Whirlpool or one of the one of the companies do make Shabbos friendly refrigerators. So it would also be they make Yontif friendly stoves. You can have different, because over there you have the thermostat that goes on and off. Your question.
Wow, that's cool. Nothing that like, you can set it, off and out.
So we can, now, we also have now with our refrigerator, so we said there are those, when you open the door, there is a fan. But every refrigerator does have a thermostat. And therefore, you do hear the refrigerator compressor going on and off when the temperature in the refrigerator goes too high. Then the thermostat kicks off a compressor and the motor starts to run and cools down the refrigerator. Our question is, what happens when you open the door of the refrigerator when warm air is going inside? Are you causing the motor to kick in?
Did we get it long enough?
Yeah, if you keep it on long enough, that would happen. So now, what about opening up the refrigerator to begin with? So if the motor is working, you're just prolonging the motor to keep going. You're not starting the motor. What happens if you open the door and it does kick in at that point by opening up the door, you actually cause the motor to stop. So, do you have any information about opening up a door of a refrigerator? Do you wait for the motor to work, or you open it up as is? So there are those who are concerned about this, and they will wait for the motor to go, and only then will they open up the refrigerator door. Did you ever go to such a house? Now, those who open up the door without waiting for the motor, what is the reason why they would do so?
The motor will go with or without.
Because, again,
The motor will go with or without.
but maybe right now, while you're opening, see, like this, if you would have left the door closed, the motor would go up in 10 minutes. Would go on in 10 minutes. But the fact that you open up the door, now the warm air, especially in the summertime, it's very hot. In the room, the warm air is going in. It's going to, instead of opening up and the motor going on in 10 minutes, it's going to go on now. So, what would be the reason why we would be permitted to open the refrigerator door? You're on this track, and let's develop this a little more. Why would it be permissible?
More we saying automatic, non-done systems.
But-
And yes, we're adjusting the system, but it's just the bottom line, more essence of it, that's an automatic. That's gonna be.
Yes,
cycling
but
through.
you are, but if you are going to open the door and it's going to start now, you're actually starting it at an earlier time. And since there's a cycle when it goes, because it's closed, but when you open the door and close the door, it's going to change the cycle. So we are, look, how is this different than if there's a light bulb and you open the door of the refrigerator with the light bulb in it, when the light bulb has not been turned off? What happens then? When you open the door, what's going to happen?
There's a guarantee that.
Guarantee that's going to happen. It's called psignation. We can't take over the head of something without expecting to move. However, when you're opening up the door of the refrigerator, will it necessarily kick in as you open the door?
No,
It could happen, but not definitely. And therefore, since your intention is not to start the motor, your intention is to get the food that's inside, and therefore that would be the reason why one would be permitted to open the refrigerator door, because we're not assuming that as you open the door, the motor is going to kick in.
so I've been to a hotel recently, and it has all this automatic stuff. And when you walk into the bathroom, the light turns on. When you walk into the room itself, the light, like the hallway light turns on. And you just can't turn it off.
You can't turn it off.
No, I
Okay.
actually turned off the bathroom light and it still goes on.
Very, very.
And then even like the door. Like we left the door unlocked, so we didn't have to use the key. And we left the lock, but when we get to cross the threshold, this light in the hallway turns on.
One would have to consult with the rabbi about that. But let me speak about, this is definite, but and you're also benefiting from it as well. Without it would be dark, you wouldn't be able to, you wouldn't be able to use that room. So you
Well,
are,
at night, you don't really want the light to go on.
okay. Okay, so now let's take it with the we have the motion sensor lights. You have them when they're outside. Let's think about it's easier to speak about outside. Okay, motion sensor lights. So here you're walking by and the light is going to go on. Are you allowed to walk down that street? You know that there's lights are going on. So number one would be to avoid that place. If you're able to do so. What happens if it's not avoidable? So it makes a difference if it's a well-lit street or it's a dark street. Are you benefiting from it? So your intention is not to open the lights. You're not benefiting from it because there's enough lights in the street so you're able to see. So you really do not want that light necessarily. You're not happy that the light is on. So this would be equivalent to, we spoke about what happens if you have your sneakers has the brand name on them. When you walk in the snow or in sand, you're leaving footprints that has a writing on it. So are you allowed to wear those sneakers in the snow? And the reason is because
That was really trying to pay.
okay, so you're not, so that's not your intention. So again, a total prohibition would be if your intention is to write. The Rabbanan say that even if your intention is not to write, still you're not allowed to write. So also total prohibition would be, first of all, your intention. Number two, it's something that's lasting. So here you have two rabbinic. One thing is you're not intending to. Secondly, it's not going to last. When the snow melts, everything is erased. So in that case, the Rabbanan, so it would be a rabbinic prohibition. The Rabbanan suspended their prohibition in order for you to get from point A to point B on Shabbos. Now let's see what happens with our lights. Your intention is not to have a benefit from the lights, so that would make it rabbinic. The fact there is lights, and so then they would permit you to walk.
You would.
You would be permitted. However, if it is dark, and you actually are happy that the lights went on, there we have a big problem because you want those lights. It's dark.
You're blindfolded up.
So, it's so there are those who say that you should, when you're walking, when you know the point when the lights are going to go on, you close your eyes and you go, but after that, after the light is on already, you can open your eyes because the light has gone on already. You did not benefit when the lights went on. So yeah, so you have to sort of know exactly when to close your eyes. Another suggestion is that you walk backwards. So you're not benefiting sort of directly.
Just laughing, thinking of a Jewish person that's not religious or a non-Jewish person observing us doing all this.
Now we also have the motion sensors. We also have the cameras, security cameras. Is that a concern? Walking by right now, you'll never know where the security cameras are. Many places do have security cameras. If it's your own, you should disarm it before Shabbos, it's your own security camera. You know that you're going to be watching you when you're coming in, coming out. It's writing. The same would also be if you have your alarm, your burglar alarm. You would also have to consult with a rabbi about these situations. You have to disarm the burglar alarm when you come in, you can close it.
Or the camera's recording all the time. Why don't we turn it off? It's recording anyway.
Well, you close it, but so it matters what kind of camera. If it's a constant camera, and then there are those motion sensitive cameras. Only when someone goes through does it operate. But again, here you're not interested in being you don't want it. You're not being interested in being photographed. So there's a leniency in that. Again, that's not our first choice. Again, if it's our own, we would with Shabbos we would not have the problem.
This goes backwards. I just when you said riding in the snow, I forget the rabbinic is if it's not permanent, it's okay,
No, it's not okay. It's a prohibition.
even if it's not permanent.
That's correct. So riding on the fogged windows, riding on the dust, riding with your crumbs, all of this is forbidden from Shabbos.
I will say, I had an alarm system put on my apartment, and this company, it's so amazing. They just jerry-rig this way, that just comes in one door, they put a switch on the door. So that just that one door that can be turned off, but everything else can be turned on, and it's like other than their system. So
And you're only going to be.
it only opened out that door, but I wanted the alarm on the first floor and on the windows, and wanted the alarm.
Okay,
on.
so as long as you were able to go in without.
Yeah,
No,
I was very
so
impressed with it.
that was very, the fact that you were aware of it and you made it to a Shabbos friendly system.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're able to keep the rest of it all on except for the entrance where you're going to be entering. Yes, very good. Now we have an elevator. So what is the issue with the elevator?
Make it work harder when you step on it.
Okay, that's the weight, it goes by weight, there's the passenger box. And then there's a counterweight. And they work, no matter, that's most of the systems are with a counterweight. And you are also making it work harder because you are going inside.
Even those elevators that have every button pressed.
So then you have there's something that is called a Shabbos elevator. The leniencies would be that it does not change by weight. I mean, it would have to be a special system that they're putting in a Shabbos elevator. That would be the special system, but the doors are automatic doors. It's not with the sensor that when you're standing there, the door opens up, but they open up at intervals, constantly opening and closing, without anyone having to manually open and close the doors. The same thing is also, you don't have to press any buttons for which floor to stop at, because it stops on every floor, opens the door, closes it again. This again, one would have to consult with their rabbi. This, but it's acceptable. Yes.
I've seen that like these programs, they would put a person, a non-Jewish person, into the elevator. You go into the elevator. I don't know if you tell them the floor or not. I think you do, because that's why they're there. Is to read. And then they click it for you and you go up. That's not allowed.
Let's do the weight. Because
Right, so why would these programs allow that? Like Orthodox.
okay, so if they're consulting rabbi, whoever's there, I don't know what the system, maybe it's not that maybe the weight does not make the difference. So they're different right now. We were speaking about elevators, the one that I'm familiar with has a counterweight, therefore it's like as you're going up, the counterweight goes down. It's like the weight does make a difference. If they have a different system, I don't know. So then this whoever's in charge of the program and is their consulting rabbi, you rely on that. That would be your choice.
What about escalators?
Escalator is easier because that does not change. That stays that's constantly going and does not change by road.
I was just in a hotel and, yeah, when they were instructed to help any of our group to go into the elevator and press the buttons for us, so I was wondering if that's a meeting.
Then you would have to have the consulting rabbi, whoever's. So it would be, also there's no electric eye, that when it sees you, that's when it opens up, so it would have to be constantly opening and closing. I guess we have the person that's doing that job. So we have to open and close it on its own without an electric eye seeing you. You would have to stop at every floor, if it's a Shabbos elevator for that. Built specifically for a Jewish client, of people who are living there. And that's what it is. I don't know what do they do in Eretz Yisrael. I don't know. That would be more if that would be. I'm saying that there we have if it's apartments that are 30 floors or whatever it is.
Surfside is like all these apartments in Orthodox, a lot of them, but.
So again, when they built it, they had that in mind. They would put in a Shabbos elevator system that would be for having Shabbos in mind. So this would be again whoever is, the rabbi who's overseeing this situation. Now we have another situation which is going to doors, the automatic doors of someone that wants to visit someone in the hospital. So if there is a way to go through without going through the automatic doors, there's the manual door, that would be our first choice. If not, we were given any guidelines of how to get into a building that has the automatic doors.
You wait for someone else to go in and go.
Okay, so you wait for someone else to go in, you will come back at them. Now, it matters what kind of system it is. Some of the systems are such that when you step on the mat, so as long as you are on the mat, you are, it's open, and when you step off the mat, it closes. And then there are some that have an actual, like a seeing eye, and see as long as there's someone there, then it's open, it closes according to sensors. So in some systems, you would have to have a person who's you're going to be sandwiched in. The person in front of you is going to open the door, and then the person in back of you is going to close the door, and you're going to be sandwiched in the middle. That would be the ideal, that depending on what kind of system the automatic door is. But if it is such that also you are causing the door to close, not only are you causing it to open, but also causing it to close, you'd have to have someone opening the door, someone in the back of you closing the door, and you would be in the middle. Not always is that possible. So those are the things that are involved. Or you're allowed to move the which is called the oscillation, move the direction where the wind is going to blow. So you are permitted to do so. So the whether it is the air conditioner, you have the levers going in the different directions that you're allowed to do. You have no Shabbos lamps that it's constantly burning. They just have a shade that is there. So we have that for Shabbos. Let's see how this works. Last lesson was not extinguishing. What happens if there's a fire? What could we do?
I mean, if a fire starts, God forbid.
Fire starting, yes. So first of all, what you have to do is make your house fireproof. You're going to be lighting the Shabbos candles. Make sure that you don't put it next to a napkin holder, where sometimes the wind blows and some of the napkins that are in the napkin holder will go, or even when you put napkins on the table, and then the wind blows, it'll just will go into the, especially when you have the travel candles, they're so low, the one with the lacquer it's more safety that the napkin is not going to blow up and go into it, but if it's the little one, the travel candles, that's on level and any time it can catch on fire. So what happens if there is a fire? Well, what do we do with this fire? So number one, if we could take this, first of all, if it'll burn up by itself, there's no issue. If you could take the whole thing and throw it into the sink bathtub, well, that would be
Can wear it?
no water. No, let it burn up by itself. We just put it in the place. And just- No. You see what happens? You see what happens with the wind, air conditioner. It actually went flying. It went flying because of the air conditioner. You're okay.
It's all.
Okay, so the air conditioner blew that napkin and it went flying. So you see what you have to do when you're leaving. Okay, so what can be done when there is a fire? So if you're able to take the tray, whatever it is, and then take it into a place with the safety so it's fireproof, and that would be the way to do it.
It's the sink fire, without the water, without the water.
Now, we also have, what happens with candle, you have a candle pulls out of the light bulb. So if it falls into the tray, let it burn out. If it falls on the table, so the problem with the candle is that we're speaking now of kind of liquid light, but a solid light, we can't do. So it is muktzah. However, because of this fire safety, we would be permitted to carry the muktzah and put it again in the same place. Our first choice, we're speaking about a candle. We try to figure it out in an unusual way. If that's possible, that's what we could take with an unusual way, and we would then bring it to safety. What happens if it is burning, we're not able to take the whole thing away? You're not allowed to pour water directly on it, but you could pour water where, when it comes to the place that's wet, it's going to go out by itself. That's called indirect extinguishing. Indirect extinguishing will be permissible. So therefore, if part of it will be burning, I'm not going to try it again. But if part of it will be burning, so I will either pour it over here, then not pour it, as long as it's not direct, then you keep going. My question would be something, does anyone generally familiar with baking soda or salt? Would that be as if you pour salt on fire, would that stand fire? Or with baking soda or fire? And then we're gonna have any idea from for experiments. I'm just saying, sometimes there are things that instead of putting water all around, you could take the baking soda is a fire retardant. They just bring the baking soda around it, as long as you don't put it on top, and then when fire comes to it, it'll go out by itself because there's no more fuel.
But wouldn't it be
If it's
a life or death situation, I mean, a fire?
no, if it's a life and death situation, there's a danger of life, then you do whatever it takes to put it out. The speak to when it's not a danger of life, this Sunday is still gonna be contained, still need to take care of it, and don't wait until it becomes a major issue. Don't pour oil on the, don't pour kerosene on the. Don't try to put it out with kerosene, put it around it. Yes.
Okay, we went on a Shabbaton months ago, and to make the dinner nice, we put these put the little white candles onto plates and just lit them and put them in the middle of the table. People, of course, whoever did that, because I thought that it was gonna be gone by the time it was over. It was really not fun at all. And we weren't sure what to do. Some of us wanted to stay up with it, whatever people didn't want to do that. So someone took, I don't know if it was water or Snapple. I think it was
Snapple.
took Snapple and put it in the plate so that if the fire was to go somewhere, it would just extinguish itself in the Snapple once it was down. Bella,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
Okay, so it's right there.
but when the fire would have been extinguished by the Snapple, that would have been us extinguishing the fire because we did that in the shop.
Oh, but it's preventive. You didn't put it on it's called together.
They put the water around.
You're not pouring directly on it.
Good morning, everybody. This is Mark. It's Keisha. We're just having today. Less than 2 weeks. I think I'm down for here, so it's gonna be the whole lot. But I'm excited. Really nice evening. And also, if anybody wants to be in the dorm in the summer and not yet getting their paper, please, so get a paper about, you know. Yeah. Why do you got it? Was it that girl? So what's it? Handle your phone. They put Snapple in the plate, the drink, into the plates. So the thing I know what to do about. Okay, this is the. It's still clean. Stop. Continue. Choose. Oh, yes. Right, we're getting. We're not leaving it, sometimes maybe. Yeah, they say,